once again, I want to welcome all our audience, our viewers from across the globe. We want to say welcome to this special edition of Focus on Liberia. Our topic tonight is the state of the nation, Liberia. Our guest is the representative from District Number 2 in Sino County, Honorable J. Nagbe Sloh. Mr. Sloh, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Ja. It's a pleasure again to connect with fellow Liberians to discuss our country. I also want to pay a special tribute to you and the other dedicated staff of Focus on Liberia for the good job you are doing in informing the international community about Liberia and its people.
Thank you so much. And by way of introduction, Honorable Sloh is the representative of District Number 2 in Sino County. That district comprises Jiripo, Jirei, and Dube district, if I'm not mistaken. And Honorable Sloh is here with us from Liberia. He's spending some time here, and we are grateful to have you, that you can honor our request to come and discuss Mama Liberia. So once again, to our viewers across the globe, we say welcome to this special edition of Focus on Liberia. Please join the conversation. Let's talk to our representative. So, Mr. Sloh, first of all, welcome, and how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, and again, it's a pleasure to be here for us to talk about our country.
All right. Before we get to Liberia as a whole, we want to first of all start with you as representative of District Number 2. You recently completed a tour of your district, that's in Sino County. First, tell us about the purpose of that trip and what's the outcome.
Well, in keeping with the Constitution, we are supposed to brief our constituents once every year on activities of the government in Monrovia, especially as it relates to our own activities as legislators. So as you may know, my district is comprised of 3 statutory districts: Jiripo, Jirei, and Dube. There are 3 statutory districts that make up the electoral district number 2 in Sino County. So I went to inform them about the activities of the government for the past 1 year, and to also formally thank them for electing me to the 54th legislature. And I also dedicated a few projects that I undertook from my pocket. As you may also know, the government has not released any money to any representative, official money, for development in the districts. So the little I was able to do from my pocket, construction of bridges on dilapidated roads, reconditioning of those roads, construction of town halls, city hall-like, where our people can meet and hold their development meetings. So I want to dedicate those ones too. I spent the Christmas and the New Year in Dube, and I just completed a tour of Jirei. Last August, we started with Jiripo. So yes, we have completed a tour of the district now, and our people are fully informed now of some of the bills that were passed, even the ones that have nothing to do with Sino. I also briefed them about the wonderful hummingbird gold mine that is supposed to be in Bokonjide in my district. It's a $250 million British investment that is supposed to go out there. But it's still with the executive branch of government. It has not reached the legislature, but I want to brief them on updates on what I have done as their representative to get that company back in Liberia. They were there to explore the possibility of doing business there. And there were delays for obvious reasons, and they left. They went to Mali, where they are operating now, and I was able to get them back to the negotiating table.
And I have question. We'll get to that. Remember?
Okay.
So you've been there for a year now. I mean, time flies so fast. Mm-hmm. So 1 year now, what do you see as some of your major accomplishments as representative of District Number 2?
Well, as you know, my background, I'm a journalist. The very key achievement was to pass the Kamara Abdullahi free speech law through the House of Representatives. Is now in the Senate. I understand the Senate has started working on it to send it to the president to be signed into law. I was also able to review a number of laws, basically on press freedom. I am now negotiating with my colleagues to make sure that those laws are repealed and new ones are made to protect free speech as a whole, not just for journalists, but for politicians, for ordinary citizens who have opinions to express without being, held under criminal laws. They can be held under civil laws. There's a difference, you can be held liable civilly for any allegation you make against the president or any government official or any other citizen for that matter. But the draconian laws that we met on the books from Samuel Doe days to Charles Taylor and all of that, I have been working with my colleagues who have been very supportive in getting rid of those. There are also laws that came from other colleagues about their counties, about other issues, like Honorable Fonati Kofa introduced a bill to reserve certain businesses for Liberians, and I was one of the co-sponsors of that bill, and we've managed to push it. It has not left the House, but we have done sufficient work on it. These things, they don't come by easily. They don't pass easily. So we are there working. First year was actually to get our feet into the grounds, to know the inner workings of the House and all of that, and we were able to fully understand how this House works. So beginning this year, we don't see ourselves again as newcomers, and we don't see ourselves as JJCs. We are now legislators. If we don't do anything good now, then it's no longer a learning curve. We have passed the learning curve now. We should be able to know what we are supposed to do.
Right. I watched your video clip, walking through the forest of Dubai district. I think so many hours. So what does that freedom of the press law mean to people of your district? Because people are talking about pocketbook issues. So that freedom will in.
Well, I represent my district, but at the same time, at the Capitol building, we look at national issues in addition to the pocketbook issues, the local issues that affect your district. I ran on a platform of roads, education, agriculture, and there were 4 main items. My tours of the district have given me an appreciable understanding of the difficulties and the challenges our people are faced with and what they expect from their representative. Unfortunately, we inherited a very broke economy, and so the government was only able to allot $31,000 US to every representative 73 of us. And up to now, they have not released the physical cash, just on paper, budget. So, but even if that money were released today, for those of us who have very, very serious challenges, I don't know what the 1,000 can do. And there is an agency established by government that is supposed to manage that money. They take, I believe it's 10% of that money for their overhead costs. They call them the LACE, Liberian Agency for Community Empowerment. So by the time the money, if it will ever reach us, if it reaches us, it's not going to be 31,000, you're probably talking about 28, 27,000. So I have held meetings with my people. If the 3 statutory districts would divide 28,000, whatever goes to each district is going to be peanuts. So let's decide this year we take all of that money, give it to one district, so that next year, if we get the same amount or something better, we send it to another district, and we keep carrying it around there until we can, at least address some of the challenges we have. And all of my 3 districts is the working thing. My district is called a working district, and I intend to struggle for the next 5 years to make sure that by the end of the next 5 years, from lobbying and from lobbying inside the government, outside the government, the issue of walking will be behind me or be behind my district before or at the end of the next 5 years.
And you will get paid.
The 3 statutory districts have no high school. None of them has a high school. So I am also working with the Ministry of Education to make sure that at least there's one high school in one of the 3 statutory districts. But the issue the Education Ministry is raising, which makes some sense, is putting the structure there is the easiest of the challenges. Finding the teachers that will leave the comfort of Monrovia and Greenville and Zwedru and other places to go and teach in the interior there where there's no electricity, no running water, and all these things is the biggest of all the challenges.
And to sustain it. But let me go quickly to your role as chairman of the Committee on Information, Broadcasting, and Tourism.
Yes.
Okay. Describe your role and what have been your achievement so far in that role.
Well, again, you want to tie the free speech act as probably the biggest of all the achievements. We have also been able to work with the Liberia News Agency, the Ministry of Information, the Liberia Broadcasting System, and the Press Union of Liberia to push issues that affect media institutions in the country. In fact, I also forgot that I have introduced a bill to make the Liberia News Agency autonomous from the Ministry of Information. Currently, Burkina Faso and Liberia are the only countries on planet Earth with their national news agencies operating under ministries of information. That discourages partners from dealing with us much. I remember before the war, the German government was helping the Liberia News Agency, and the precondition was autonomy. And we're working on that when the war hit Monrovia, and that threw the whole effort back. The Germans left. Up to now, we are still under the Ministry of Information. In fact, the Liberia News Agency has no budget of its own. It's feeding on the budget of the Ministry of Information. So I've introduced a bill at the legislature to make LINA autonomous. It's still there. We are fighting. I realized that one of the things that has been holding LINA is that no Minister of Information has been willing for time immemorial to let LINA go, as if the ministry survives on LINA. But the current Minister of Information, Honorable Len Eugene Nagbe, has given me his support, and I must commend him for that. We are working together to make sure that Lena goes autonomous as quickly as possible.
Right. And the benefit is that international partners will trust that autonomy and be able to support.
Yes, they are saying Lena is supposed to be focused on development journalism. How come there is no role in Bukonjiri, the richest district in the whole of Liberia, with all the gold? How come there is no role in Dugbe and there's no role in Jiripo? How come there's no high school in any of the 3 districts? How come, there's almost everything lacking in those places, in Bapolu, in other places of the place? Those are the development stories that the German government, the Chinese, and all these people are willing to help. But Lena, as it is now, is part of a ministry that's focused on promoting government. Bad government, good government, the Ministry of Information is charged with the responsibility of promoting it. And no foreign government wants to support an effort where we are, attacking, we are attacking Bromsky attacking Nagbe Sloh. They don't want to fund something like that. As far as they know, it's not their business. So we need to detach the Lena from the Ministry of Information, so that, like, these governments are funding news agencies of other countries.
Right.
Like, as big as Nigeria is, they still get funding from the Germans and from other people, the Chinese, to do development journalism. So we are hoping that before the end of this year, God's willing, Lena will leave the Capitol building and go to the president to be signed into law as an autonomous agency.
So what's your role when we hear you are the chair on the Committee of Information, Broadcasting, and Tourism? What does that mean?
I provide oversight for the media landscape in Liberia on behalf of the legislature.
All right. That's
I'm the conduit between the media and the legislature.
Good. Recently, you and other lawmakers, including Adolphus Lawrence of Moserado County.
Adolph.
Adolph Lawrence, Yeka Koluba. You accused the Speaker of Beaufort Chambers of impropriety and called for his resignation. What was that all about, and where is that issue now?
Well, I don't believe that what you just said is what we said.
Okay.
We have seen impropriety in the legislature, in the management of our benefits of members. Now, whether the Speaker is a part of it or not, we accuse the committee, the internal committee that is in charge of administration. Firstly, when we gather all of the information, we wrote the Speaker and our colleagues calling for something under our rules we call executive session. That is secret session. That's the real name for it. All of our sessions are open to the press and to the public. But when we call for executive, it means we are going to talk either national security issues or issues pertaining to ourselves that got nothing to do with public interest. We wrote a letter to the Speaker calling for executive session, and they thought to blackmail us with the public. So these guys will be afraid to discuss these issues because we'll put them against the public to say they are selfish, they're talking about their own self, and they're not talking about public. So they say, let's discuss it in public. We warn them. The things we want to discuss are internal, they are not for the public. If you want them, go to the public, we are not afraid. And they thought that a man like me who has been in the public since 1983, my whole life has been in the public, they thought they would blackmail me. And so we took them on in the public, and now the things we're talking about, they have started, they made Honorable Mona Pellon to write a complaint to say, the issues they're talking in the media, they are reducing the House to public disrepute. Now, I told you, let's go inside and talk this thing. You say we must go public. You and myself who doing the public disrepute. So that's where the issue is. We have been the House has been receiving duty-free gasoline that we are supposed to get as members. For the past 1 year, some of us don't even know where it is. There is also $15,000 worth of gas slips that go to a generator that is on Jupiter. That generator is operating on Jupiter. It's nowhere in Liberia. So where has the oil been going? Somebody takes it to Jupiter and flies back down. And if that generator is producing the electricity, where does it bring the electricity to? Not in Capitol Building where I work. So this, and then in the budget, we passed a budget. They went behind us and plugged funny figures into the budget. And we discovered that first it was discovered by 10 members of the 15-member Ways and Means Committee. All counties are represented on that committee, 15 members. 10 out of the 15 that work on the budget that all of us voted for wrote a letter to the speaker. So the budget that we passed, we see funny things inside the budget being implemented. Speaker took that letter, whether he took it to Maryland, he kept it there, or he put it on Jupiter where they operate most of the time, we don't know. So we raised all of these issues, many of them. Now and then they say, oh, public disrepute, the things you're doing, reducing all to public disrepute. You are the one doing it. You and your woman may plow. The woman say, let's go inside and go toilet. You say, no, let's talk outside. The woman say, all right, I get boyfriend. Then you say, oh, you disgrace me. So okay. That's where we are.
Honorable Sloh, I remember you joined the ruling party. So which group are you caucusing with, and have you been able to discuss this thing internally in your CDC caucus?
Well, I belong to the ruling Mighty Congress for Democratic Change, but I did not join CDC to do wrong things. Okay. And I did not join CDC to do secret things. CDC knows me. I know CDC very well. I don't know CDC to be a secret party. That's why we said, let's go inside. Let's go talk the thing inside. The speaker is CDC. I'm CDC. Adolph Lawrence, you mentioned, is CDC. Plenty of other CDC members signed a letter. They said, no, let's talk in the public. So we are in the public now. I don't know why they are crying foul. Now they call for investigation, and we told them, okay, let's go to the investigation.
Okay.
Clandestinely, they withdrew the letter calling for investigation. So the investigation died a natural death because we're naked all of them, and the issue is not dead yet.
Okay. What are your next steps, and what's about the resignation of the speaker? I know that is dead. No,
we have not called for his resignation. It's not one of the issues on the table right now. I know he's inept. He has no business being even deputy speaker, but when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. For now, we are talking about benefits that should come to House members that are not reaching them.
In case you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. Our guest is Honorable J. Nagbe Sloh. He's representative of District Number 2 in Sino County. We are discussing the state of the nation, Liberia. But before that, we want to talk to Representative Sloh about his district and other issues in the House before proceeding to the national issues. There's a comment here, Honorable Sloh, that because you mentioned that by law you are required to visit your district once a year. Yeah. So there's a comment here said in America, the representatives, lawmakers visit their districts every week. How come it's once a year in Liberia?
Well, the first thing is a requirement of the law. I visit my district frequently, but the one that is required by law is once every year. That's one. Two, there are constraints. The road from Monrovia to Sino is something that only dry season people can make, even moderate visits before talking about weekly visits. Okay. It would be a very good idea. I enjoy being with my people than being in Monrovia. But again, American people say you gotta do what you gotta do.
So right now you're doing what you gotta do.
I'm doing what I'm gonna do, man, bro.
All right.
As you can monitor on the internet or other medium, I am the most visible representative in my district. And when I go there, I walk, I shake hands, I sleep in all places that the local people sleep. I drink their local water. I eat their local food. We beat the drums and dance at night. I enjoy being there. They enjoy seeing me.
All right. Now let's turn to our topic for discussion, which is the state of the nation. You know, when I was a refugee in Guinea, anytime someone come from Liberia, we say, "How Liberia?" And they would tell us, because at that time, the major issue was security. So they would tell Liberia, all right, all the nightclubs are open and markets are packed. Because
and you know that's what I'm coming to tell you.
Right? In those days, it was because of security, people could not work at night. So they measure success of things being all right by how long you stay in the street without being harassed. Yeah. And because there was shortage of food, so when there's food in the market and people are going back and forth purchasing, that was, indicative of the country being okay. Mm-hmm. Now that's not an issue anymore. So how is Liberia? If you can, in 2 or 3 sentences, describe the state of our nation.
Well, depending on who you talk to, Liberia is bad. Liberia is good. You will suppose that those of us in government will tell you that the Liberia is good because we get paid, we get it on time, we ride good cars, air conditioned, we live in good houses, air conditioned. We go to restaurants and spend good money and eat good food. So yes, for the people in government, everything is good. But for Mantwedi in Bokondre and Omen Sakojo Animle in Dubai, Omen Sakoto in Girepo, the story is different. They have not felt any government in their lives for the past 13 years, 12 of Erling and 1 of Josh Weir. I'm being realistic. Government come, government go, their lives remain the same. And for me, those are the people that government services are supposed to impact. Not the big shots in Monrovia. So if it comes to the ordinary people, I would say Liberia is bad. Right now, if you were to do any economic study, the ordinary man in Liberia lives below 75 cents a day. I know that because people bother us every day, the front line. My office is like a clinic. Children out of school, there's no food, there's no roof over the house, just every problem. People bring it to you. Being represented now is not to solve common problems, it's to solve individual problems. So those are indicators that all is not well with our people. Some people get up 4, 5 in the morning to start walking from Nikrutown, Claratown, to walk to Capitol Building to come and ask you for help. Sometimes they find out you're not there. They have to walk back.
But when did that start? Were things better and now start to go bad under the current presidency, or that has been the pattern?
No, I believe you were paying attention to your laptop when I started. I said, government in, government out, services of government have not impacted the ordinary person. Okay. And so for the past 12, 13 years, and I said 12 of Erling and 1 of Josh Weir, the life of Omen Sakojo Animle in Bokondre has not changed. The life of Olere Twedi in Nikrutown has not changed. It's still the same thing. She has to go begging other people to survive. So for the ordinary person whose life government services are supposed to improve has not changed. So for me, I'm not blaming a particular person or a particular institution or a particular government. All I'm saying is government in, government out, our people are still suffering. I don't know when it will stop, but that's the reality.
But why do you think it's that way?
Well, because we don't have programs that target them. People come and pay salaries for government employees and just recurring. The same thing over and over. No common sense solution to the people's problems.
Wow. Now let's go to some specific issues that have been happening currently.
My disappointment is,
okay,
this is the only government in my little time that God has given me. This is the only government that has evolved from the masses, the real masses when you talk about the masses.
Right.
As you can see from the popular vote given to this government. So if this government cannot do any better for Sakajo Animle, then we must just forget about them.
You will give more. What does that mean?
Because the people say, your people, you fail us too long. Just sit down. We made all the allegations. Joe, we are no book. Joe, we are dead. Joe, we are grown-up. Joe, we are the other one. Bad things. They say all rare that the man won. Because all of you have failed us. Let's try the other one. And for one whole year, I have not seen any change. And I have not even seen any baby step at solving the common people's problems. You know, I mean, I'm not shifting blames. Is the money there? I don't know. I don't work with the Ministry of Finance. All right, but again, I'm talking about the reality.
Right, but it's easier to think about government as the executive branch. So it be including the legislature. You have you still don't see any baby step. Talking about.
I just said the government. I did not say the executive branch.
Yeah, no, I want you to explain that. You know, putting yourself in the picture for judiciary, also the legislative branch. Or nobody's taking baby steps to correct some of these issues. That's what you're saying.
Judiciary, I'm not too sure. I've not followed it closely, but both the legislature and the executive branch have not done anything to help the masses. And the legislature, the little time I've spent in Liberia since 1964, when I was born, this is the worst legislature in according to my own understanding of the government. The government is the legislature is not doing Congress say nine. All of us, we are just a bunch of pay takers. Take your pay, go sit down.
That's a strong indictment. So what's your yardstick?
One thing that the legislature has done that you are proud of. Every day people cry the president. The only institution given authority by law to hold the executive accountable is the legislature. Show me one action that we have taken as a legislature to hold the president or anybody in the executive branch accountable for anything. Nothing.
So what's your role in that? What are you doing? Or because it's all about votes, so you just one drop in the ocean, or why is it that way?
Well, legislative action is not individual action.
That is true.
The only thing you can do is to go on radio and vent your frustration. But for any serious thing to be done by the legislature, it involves the legislature as a unit. It begins from the leadership. The speaker must be the speaker of the House and not the speaker of the executive. That is the situation we have today.
And this being the worst, wow. Okay, let's go to some specific issues that have been happening quite recently. Let's start with the agreement that was signed with the Senegalese government for the exploitation and management of marine resources, it says, the enhancement and commercialization of fishery and aquaculture product training and capacity building. I mean, there's a whole thing. So I want you to just give us a brief take on each of these issues as I list them. Let's start with this fishing agreement. What do you know about it?
Well, I have not seen any copy of that agreement, but I listened to the Director General of the Fisheries Authority on ELBC before I left Monrovia. My thing is, I don't know how much due diligence was done before this agreement was signed. If these people have fish in their waters, what happened to their fish before they come in for Liberia owner fish? What did they with it?
That's why I'm making bilateral agreement.
How responsibly did they manage it before it disappeared? In fact, this was my first time hearing that fish finished from the sea. From their own territorial waters, fish finish. How?
Any natural resource can be depleted, Honorable Sloh.
You call fish natural resource?
So anything that God put somewhere, you can finish.
Not fish. The fish can reproduce. In fact, it can travel from Liberian waters into your water, from Togolese water into your waters. What happened to your own fish? How? Did you manage it responsibly before it finished? How much due diligence did we do before we signed this agreement? That's to me. There are more questions, and under the law, any such agreement above $10,000 US dollars should go to the legislature for ratification. So if it gets there, we'll ask the tough questions. But for now, I'm just like you, like the ordinary person in the streets. It has not come to us, as far as I know. So unless it went there after I left Monrovia 4 days ago, so it would be unfair for me to pass judgments on it.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me go to some of our comments from Facebook. Margaret Johnson said, so he says, so down to the representative, you are using the president line, we inherited a broke government. I think you heard that line from the president, which was disputed by the former president, that the government was not broke when the We Are government took over. So that's what Margaret is asking you.
Broke is relative.
Okay.
When we came in, the budget was the budget of the current fiscal year, not this year we are in now. That current budget was almost at the end, and the outgoing government had depleted it. So when it comes to spending money, it's supposed to be by the budget. So when the government we met in power depleted the current budget, as far as I knew, there was no money to spend. Now, if there was money lying down somewhere in some coffers, that I did not know. Nobody briefed me, so I'm speaking in terms of the budget.
All right. There's has always been a question about salaries. Melisson K. Yadolo said, Liberia is not connected with roads, but paying each representative $180,000 US a year. Do you make $180,000 US a year?
Well, I wish you could ask that person the question instead of me.
Well, people, they throw the allegation, so we want you to verify, confirm it, or tell us it's not true.
Oh, so somebody got and say, representatives make $780 million a year. Then I say, no, I don't make $7 million, I make $2. Every time they come with that, that's what we'll be on. You know, we need to be a little serious here. But again, if we had a leadership in the House which is concerned about image the way I do, these questions will not be floating around.
Right.
Because I have said, like I say, 2.8 million times on the radio and even in sessions, there is this perception out there that we make too much money that we don't make. In fact, the very people who make the allegations are the same people who line up at your doors every day begging, begging, begging. So let's publish our salaries. This thing is not secret. You're a public servant. What's wrong with, if it is a legitimate income, whether it's plenty or small, it's nobody's business. That's what the law gave you. So let's announce it. But nobody wants to do it. Now, I cannot come on the radio or on your show and say I make $10. Because to say that is to say every representative makes $10 because all of us make the same thing.
Right.
Then the next thing now is, all right, that way, your monitor our fee. So he gets here, we go executive session. He brought it out to public disrepute. They want that one, all that kind of thing. So they are the ones making the people to think this way. Somebody telling you $180,000 a year, meaning we make $15,000 a month. Jesus Christ, I wish I made even half of this. Half. But again, Buffer Chimo need to respond to that. Because it's getting to a point where some of us will be forced one day, even if I don't do it with my mouth, I will go clandestine and publish it. Because I'm getting too fed up.
Right. Because that question keep coming. And
yeah, it's not going away.
Asking the same question.
Even before we got there, it was the same public sentiment that drove some people away, and we inherited their positions. So let's publish this thing. Why are you afraid to publish your salary? Are you stealing? If it is plenty, it's plenty. It cannot be changed. It's the same legislature that makes its own salary. So you don't want to change the salary, fine, but publish it. For me, what I inherit, I did not. Since we took over, we have not passed one law changing anybody's salary. In fact, the current speaker introduced a bill before we went there. The last legislature, he was there for 12 years. He cried. They must close the gap between speaker and members. Since he took over, we have been reminding him. He called that bill the standardization bill. He said the distance between members and speaker, gasoline, salary, allowance, wow, it's too big. So they must close it. Right now, I will not call the figure, but the distance between him and us is 85%. That's one of the things we are crying for. Let it close. Either he come down or we go up to him. And we are not going to give up on it. He's one of those who are causing this problem for us. The bad public perception.
So what you are saying?
He was crying for yesterday when other people were speaker. Why he there now? He wrote it. His own writing. We just made photocopies and attached with matters to him. He and our colleagues. That's one of the noise you're hearing over there.
What you are saying now is if you announce your salary on Focus on Liberia, it's possible that you'll be cited when you get back in the House.
It will be. Not impossible business. It will be. Because they want to keep the salaries and the income, all the other benefits private. For me, I'm willing tonight, if the speaker comes in and says, go ahead, I will announce his own plus our own.
So the House, the People's House has become Kukujimuku.
It has always been. It still is. And I don't want to serve in a secret house.
Let's go to the second issue about the budget shortfall. According to reports that the Central Bank 2018 annual report says that it has the largest shortfall in the country's history. You heard about that shortfall and everything going down. In fact, remittances from the US from the diaspora going to Liberia has dropped. Everything just dropping. What's up with that?
It's the same kukujimuku I'm talking about. One side of the government talking different thing and another side talking different thing. As far as I know, the budget is an estimate from the LRA, the Liberia Revenue Authority.
Yeah.
Now, the LRA has been reporting consistently that it is overperforming, is over-collecting. So there should be no budget shortfall. The LRA, the total budget is what LRA told us they were going to collect.
Right.
And we are not even at the end of the year. LRA keeps saying we are overperforming, we are overperforming. They issue press releases. If you go on their website, you see it there. So if they are collecting as they predicted, why are we shortfalling now in a budget with several months still ahead of us? Something is wrong somewhere. Either
Right.
the money collector is now reaching the central bank, and so the central bank is reporting shortfall, or some ministries and agencies are overspending their budget limits. In fact, the government ministries and agencies are supposed to submit quarterly reports to the national legislature. Every 3 months, they are supposed to send reports to the national legislature on their performances and how they are doing with the budget that we give them. Honorable, we have been more than 1 year now. One ministry has not submitted a single report to the legislature. But we say we are legislature. We're just there to take pay. I know the whole token and content, but that's true. We have never failed to take pay, but we have always failed to do the people's business.
And now, you know, as an individual, you don't have any power to make any change. Just to talk about it, that's it.
You can only go to the media like some of us have been doing, make the noise. You know, that's all you can do. For the legislature to act and be respected, something has to be on the speaker's desk. We discuss it. We pass a resolution. We pass a vote. And you know, since we took over more than 1 year now, nobody knows who voted where. Because everything, the only thing Buffer Chamber learned in the 12 years that he said over there before we joined him is, who do I agree? Row. Who doesn't agree? Ah. You don't know the way the people do it here in other responsible countries. Issue A. District number 1, sign off. Nail. District number 2, sign off. Yeah. We don't do it like that. 1 day, we have not done it like that. We always, hey, everybody, woo. By the time they get 3, 4 people to make noise, say, roar, bang, now the gabble is gone. We are joking. I don't see any serious action over there as a legislature. So the executive, what are they doing, good, they're doing bad, there's no way that our people will know because their representatives are not serving their interests.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the state of the nation, Liberia. My guest is Honorable J. Nagbe Sloh. He's the representative of District Number 2 in Sino County. Honorable Sloh, let's talk about, first on the budget shortfall, and also because you said something very important that because budget is just a projection.
Yeah.
We are expecting to make, say, 100 million. If we make 100 million, we are expecting to spend maybe 90 million.
Yeah.
So if LRA is overperforming, that means we should even make 200 million. So why is that budget shortfall? What can the representative do about that?
Call the Minister of Finance, call the LRA man, call the central bank man, and let them report to the Liberian people through their representatives what is happening. LRA, where's your report? I collected $10. And when you collect $10, where is it supposed to be? A central bank. Mr. Central Bank, do you have the $10? No, I don't have it. There's a problem. It's not rocket science. My 2-year-old daughter can find it.
Yeah.
So the problem is in the legislature between the legs of Mr. Buffer Chambers. As soon as he decides to be speaker, the answers will come.
Wow.
And will continue to harass him. He will do the right thing.
So what's the, because if the representatives are not doing what they're supposed to do, there should be a push from those who elected them. Are you saying that push?
I'm not saying the push. I really wish it was like America where the people can record their people. Because then it's very difficult to even find 3-4 people like minds to say, this is an issue. Let's pursue it. Let's push it. No. By the time 2 or 3 people come together, the next day, 2 people will abandon you. Then you become the enemy of something. I really, really wish the people could recall representatives who stand for nothing. I don't know how many of us will remain up there.
So overall, let's talk about the economy. Overall, when you talk about the economy, we talk about unemployment, we talk about prices, transportation, the U.S. exchange rate. How is that doing?
Well, judging from the numbers from LRA, I think the economy is doing fine. If what they are seeing is true, and I don't think LRA will collect $5 and say they are collecting $10. So the government should have enough money to do some of the things that it said it would do. Now, unemployment has always been an issue, HO issue. It's not just with this government. But again, like I said, like other problems, we have not done anything to indicate that we are solving the problem. I'm not saying it should be solved overnight. This problem has been there since 1847. But that's why the masses put their weight behind Ambassador Weah to be their president. So by now, there should be at least some program in place, some kind of program that the people can say, okay, down the road, we see some signs coming. But nothing like that. All we do to each other when we park by each other in Monrovia, Bagu is strong, Bagu is strong, Bagu is strong. That's it. We run a government, we're moving. Serious business, man. We're not wasting time.
Okay. Tipo PK Dempster has a say, this honorable is saying some things that make a lot of sense, but why is he not bringing bills to the floor on the issues like this?
I will offer him a ticket to come to Monrovia and witness our hearings. The way to put things on the floor is to write the speaker and ask him to put it on the floor. If he comes to Monrovia, I will show him a minimum of 70 representatives who have written the speaker to put things on the floor, and they are still behind the counter.
So if the speaker doesn't put it on the floor, cannot be discussed in essence.
That's the rule. You can't just stand up and talk like you're crazy. You write the speaker, that's the rule. I want us to discuss prices in the country. He puts it on the we call it speaker's desk, issues on speaker's desk. Letter from Honorable J. Nagbe Sloh asking for the appearance of the Minister of Commerce to discuss prices and this and that. If he doesn't put it there, it ends up in the gossip corner. That's how it is. Just last Thursday, a member of the House, which is becoming a regular thing now, walked out of session because a letter he wrote ever since has not seen daylight for quarterly reports from the ministries and agencies, for us to summon people to appear and show why this is not being done. It's a constitutional requirement. And the same constitution says the president should punish people who don't give their quarterly reports to the legislature. Has the speaker informed the president that nobody has given him report? Hello?
I want to, because we have our guests here, some of them maybe they didn't hear you. They ask, Thomas Zuo is asking you, so let me read a couple of them before you respond. Thomas Zuo say, have you written the speaker before? Dennis J. Double is saying, why can't you people remove him then as a speaker? And Cooper Kwame, how can the do nothing speaker be removed? So did you write the speaker? why are you not removing him, or how can he be removed?
To remove the speaker, you need two-thirds majority. If you were to ask for representatives who will gossip about the speaker, I can give you 72.
Out of 73.
Yes, he make out 73. I can give you 72 who can gossip. He inept, he this, he just wear body guy, he this, he the other one. All the nasty things you want to hear about Buffer Chamber, talk to representatives behind Buffer Chamber. Carry people around, say, let me the man. If they don't spit in your face, they will call you and put you on speaker. That's why I say we are just a bunch of, Tepe go home representatives.
So it means our healthcare, our educational system.
There are very few of us who can stand in session and in Buffer Chambers' face and say you are inept. You're not even so be head of any committee here. For 12 years, the man stayed in our place. He learned nothing. Up to now, he can't even conduct sessions properly. After 12 years there on the floor, cussing Ellie and cussing other speakers, and then after 1 year over there, the brother is still having difficulty with rabble rule.
Yeah, I was asking a question on our healthcare and education because they were in bad state before. President Salif described the educational system as a mess. And the healthcare system, you see people are dying from diseases that could otherwise be prevented. Is there any change? Have there been any improvement from what you know?
If they were a mess, then now they are messy.
Getting worse.
By the hours.
There were reports of our president, we are constructing houses around Monrovia, real estate. There were pictures of being flying on the internet. Later, early this month or late last month, we got other pictures that all the houses they've been showing, really they are real estate in Nigeria. What do you know about President? We are constructing his personal real estate around the country.
Well, I don't work with the National Housing Authority, so I don't know who builds house and who doesn't build house. I have been hearing myself that the president has been building a number of houses, and last time I read in one of the local newspapers, the ruling party chair was quoted as saying that yes, the buildings were being constructed by the president, and that when they asked him why he didn't build them in the past, and he was also quoted as saying that it was not safe during those days to build his houses, but now that he's in charge of the security and everything else, it is safe for him to build. So I have not seen any denial from my party chair as to whether he said those things. So I will assume that going by the newspaper's account, that he's aware that those houses belong to the president. Myself, I've been wondering if and only if those houses are for the president, as been reported, why this rush? What happened to public opinion? What happened to perception? Even if the money was his, the fact that all in his heydays when you were playing football, you were making all the money, he didn't build them. And as senator, he didn't build them. Now, the first year he's in power as president, he's building them. So, I mean, people will assume that he's using public funds to build them. There has been not enough image building from the party, from the government. I have not seen any clarification whether the houses belong to the president and where the resources are coming from to build them. I don't know. All right, so I don't want to pass judgment, but if they are actually for the president, if I were in his shoes, I would not have built them this time.
Right, the optics look very good.
The timing is just too poor.
Yeah. So putting on your hat as a journalist, had there been, in your view, had there been enough investigative journalism to bring these kind of issues to light?
Well, basically, most of the reports have come from the social media. And, you know, social media does not regard investigative journalism. They are now held under the same requirements of investigative reporting. I have not seen the properties aligned with the president's name in any serious newspaper in Liberia. I've seen them on the social media. So I would not say, you know, whether they have been investigated or not. But I'm sure that people in the government too, in the president's PR team, have seen these reports. The Minister of Information, Nagbe Sloh, will not let those media reports go free. I will go and explain whether or not the houses are for the president, and if they are for him, where the funding is coming from. Because, you know, there are certain things you can do and it won't matter where you take money from and all of that. That will not be the same thing with the president because of his authority over public funds and all of that. As president of the country, not just ambassador, any president can call for any money from central bank and it will just walk to him. People will not, if you say you'll bring the money before you'll make the papers, it will happen. So because of this, you want to make sure that whatever you do is transparent.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lack of transparency that is causing all of this hula baloo about the president's properties and all. And then he had a beautiful house on 9th Street in Senko. Overnight, we saw the house going down and then being rebuilt, refurbished, made bigger. You know, I mean, even with legitimate income, the kind of properties that the people are saying the president owned, he could not have built them in 1 year with legitimate income. So if I were in his shoes, I would be concerned about my image, you know, because this is a president that came to power by popular vote.
All right.
I would be concerned about what the Mantwadis and the Nagbe Sloh then would think. He needs to do more explanation. Right now, that's not the case. So, you know, our people are gullible. Anything they see, they buy. Unless there is some explanation. Even whether they believe it or not, as long as you think it is true, put it out there. Let people know.
Transparency is key. Senior Right is asking me to ask you, can you ask the representative if his asset declaration is in the Zobush? Have you declared your asset? That's what Senior is asking.
I'm waiting for the speaker.
Wait, is it supposed to be in that order?
No, it's, you know, that's what they call leader. The leader sets the agenda, sets the example, then we follow. The first thing about me, I don't own anything. I don't have a house. I got only one pitiful little car. By the time I declare it, from the time I walk to the people's office, by the time I come by, it will be useless. So no need to declare it. But if I have to declare, I declare. That's the only thing I own.
Augustine Morris say, have you got any information about Honorable Yeke Koluba's recent issue and complaint? I don't know specifically what he's referring to, or when the
I wish I knew.
Honorable Koluba, when he had his party and he there was a fight and he accused the president of being behind what was happening at his party.
I know he had a party for kids in his district. He invited me and other representatives. Unfortunately, I was ill that day. I didn't go. Some representatives went. And in their presence, all of them, besides Yeke, all of them reported that they saw people going in there and interrupting the party and wasting their food and everything else. So in the process, somebody's ear got caught and put on the floor. So the police people went there and made some arrests. Yeke cry foul, reported the matter to the legislature and to the government. Interestingly, the same night, there was some gunfire at his house, and he called some of us somewhere between 4 and 5 in the morning. He called us, and I was hearing, when he called me, I was hearing gunfire on the phone. Some representatives went there, and they said that by the time they got there, they didn't meet anybody with guns, but they saw gunshots all on his wall. Now the government wrote, the justice minister wrote the legislature asking us to turn over Mr. Yeke Koluba to help them with the investigation. So it was like a complainant being turned into defendant. That raised some issues. Some of us did not think that he was being treated fairly. So we voted against him going to the Justice Ministry, but majority took the day. I voted against that. That's what I know. So I left that hanging when I left Monrovia. I don't know if he has appeared at the Justice Ministry, because once the House decided by majority decision that he should go, that was the decision. So he was supposed to go to the Justice Ministry, but I mean, I don't think that was fair to him. That's why I voted against it.
Okay. Any update on the 16 billion, the alleged missing? Because the Tipos themselves, what is your stand on the 16 billion and 25 million? There's another 25 million that was, I think, infused in the economy. So what's up with the 16 billion now? Where is it? I know the House was investigating, and at some point they said, well, let's put ours on hold until we can hear from the committee the president has constituted. What's the update?
But Raja, I'm laughing because people take our country to be for fun. They think that some kind of football to play, or what they call it, basketball to play. Up to now, from the time that issue of the 16 billion was raised, it's more than 3 months. And we are still investigating. Eh? That's the easiest investigation my 2-year-old daughter can conduct. In keeping with law, the legislature must authorize the printing of money. If that is done, the central bank will send for the money. It comes back when the money is printed, it comes to central bank. So to trace whether money was printed and 16 billion came to the country, it's too easy. Very, very easy. And up to now, we still say we are investigating whether 16 billion was printed, whether it came to the country, whether it got lost. If money entered the country, it does not go to individual ministries or to Douala market. It goes only to central bank. Did 16 billion enter central bank? Did 16 billion leave the printer? Is this difficult to, when the money gets to Freeport, it is escorted by the national police, all their batches taken and everything, papers signed. So to trace any money entering the country and going to central bank, it's easy.
So what has been the issue?
Why up to now we are still investigating? I don't know. How long more do we need to investigate a simple thing? I don't know. Has the legislature been informed about the outcome of any investigation? Nope, not to the best of my knowledge. $25 million was announced by the government that they were putting into the economy to map out excess liquidity, excess money that are on the market. Yeah. Number one, where did the 25 million come from? Number two, since you put it there, how much of the plenty money have you taken from the market? Number three, Who all you gave this 25 million to? Money changers. What's the list of the people you were dealing with to take the money from the streets and put it into central bank or somewhere? Are these difficult questions to answer? And then people passing around like, oh man, nothing, man, when we're ready, we'll make report, man. You know, don't leave that in, man. Don't. And then the legislature, they want sitting down inside. We call ourselves legislators. Every day we wear necktie, black African coat suit and Chief Zazan Kawa suit and Tomatilla suit. We're going to wear honorable. All kinds of things happening. When you as representatives should call people to account to the Liberian people, the thing they send you for. You're not doing it. You think that coat suit the people looking for? But again, you know, the only thing we wait for election for people to move someone off from that place. That's what all the things happening. They say, oh, move someone off every day. Every day. Change representatives, change senators. People will start getting serious. 25 million of your money was put in the street to take money from there. Up to now, no report. Where it came from, how much it has taken out the intended purpose, all of that, we don't know. Legislators, they don't know. So who will know? That man 20 will know? Or if I don't know, I represent more than 75,000 people. I speak for them. I advocate for them. If I don't know, that other people will know.
So what are you telling your people about these things? When you go to
I don't know. I tell them just as I'm telling you now. You know, for me, the people say, oh, then you CDC, why did you? I did not join CDC to cover up anything. If that's the reason for being CDC, then I think they have the wrong member. And I don't think CDC is looking for anybody like that. I don't think CDC wants to hire anything because nobody has told me to hire something. CDC was elected to render good services to the people. That's something I want to be a part of. Then people say, oh, man, my man, you can't be part of the ruling party. My man, be careful. And be careful with what?
All right. Let me go to the University of Liberia campus where student politics was suspended. I think you heard that in the news. Normally, when these things happen, they always point back to the central government. What's the story and what's your take on the suspension of student politics on LU campus?
Bad, wrong, unnecessary, stupid. You know the thing about it, Dennis? Plenty of the people in the government in Liberia are too young to know where we came from just yesterday morning. These are the same bad decisions that got Liberia through that 14 years of trouble. They're too young to remember. And you know the snake that doesn't know where it's coming from, it can run into fire and think that water is running to. You remember when Doe used to ban student politics on the LU campus and chasing people? That's what they call it, the university. That's a universe by itself. Student politics all around the world. They are free to talk on their campus, do their things on their campus. But if you bring people from outside to go inside and go cause confusion and their friends and start doing all kinds of things, then you say we ban student politics.
But that's the issue is with the LU administration now, not the government. Are we making
what did it? Stupid.
What?
The person who did it is stupid. I didn't say that the judicial branch, legislative branch, or executive branch. I said whoever did it.
There's also the
whole time, Taylor time, whoever time, it was LU administration that were banning student politics and calling NSA inside the LU to arrest people. Alari Tugba, Uwo Gabi Tapia, Lucia Masalene, to go on LU campus and go disturb those people.
The president offer of tuition-free public colleges and university. I know you were in Liberia and you have relatives or nephews, nieces in this public university. How is that working?
Good decision ill plan. Firstly, it's costly. So the president, in his desire to do good, passed through the back door to do it. The legislature was supposed to be a part of that. The president was supposed to start with us. Money must be put in the budget to support something like that. Where did the president intend to take money from to make education, tuition free at LU and other public institutions of learning? That's one. Two, right now, the quality is another issue, different argument altogether. We have at least 5 universities in Liberia. Colleges by the plenty. Every country got a college now. So if you are not in LU or you are not in any public university like Tubman University in Maryland, there's UMU, AMEU, all the other U there all over the place. Pretty soon we'll soon have the RA and all that. Now, if you are not in LU, you are in AMEU. So who covers your tuition? You are a Liberian. You probably demonstrated and voted for President Weah and all of that one there. So why are you not supposed to be covered too? These are the things that should have called for some proper scrutiny and all of that before the decision was made. Right now, I saw some LU teachers saying they have not taken pay 4 months and all of that. Now, where you find money from to pay them before you talk about making the tuition that's supposed to pay them, you say no, students should not pay. You see, it's good to give some helping hand to our brothers and sisters who are pursuing higher education of learning. I applaud the president for that. But doing is one thing to do good. It's another thing to do it right.
And have the money to pay for it.
And have the money that the right way there.
Right.
So before you announce it, that is right.
Let's go to the road construction. That's one of, according to reports that we are getting, that's one bright spot. The president is, or the government is constructing roads in Monrovia, mainly. And some of the little roads, they're being constructed and paved. I saw on Facebook, social media, that people of River G were rejoicing, say for the first time, they have a paved road in River G County. The president will you say he's doing well when it comes to the construction of roads?
Firstly, the road in River G, if the president does well, we should give him the credit. But at the same time, the road in River G, everything about that road was done by Ellen Salif before she left power. In fact, the funding is coming from the African Development Bank and other donors. Everything about that road was done before Ellen left. Okay, so I don't want us to give credit to whom credit is not due. In Monrovia, I know the president has been constructing some feeder roads in Logan Town and around his own community and other places. Those are good, they are plausible. The question that I have and other people have been saying is, where's the money coming from? Because those roads are not in the budget that I voted for, that we passed. And the president has had only one budget since he came to power. So where is this money coming? If it's coming from his pocket, fine. I'll dance for him any day. But again, wanting to do the right thing through the wrong means is my concern. Money for roads must be budgeted by the national legislature. That way we track the funding and we track budget performance. But if the president is getting the money from sources outside of the government, kudos to him. And the only thing is, again, we need to know, why is the PR this bad?
Yeah.
If you're doing it right, publicize it. If the money is from your pockets, let the people give their leader credit for helping them with his own resources. But for them to see the roads without knowing where the money coming from, it's the same thing with the houses that they say he owns. Houses are just, sprinting all over the place. And they say, oh, they're president. Any house coming out, they say they're president. They all want the president. If you are explaining the legitimate ones, if there are any, maybe people will stop assigning his name to other properties that may not be his.
All right, our time is fast spent, so let's discuss one or two issues before we draw down our curtains. One of it is recently there was a backlash against Archbishop Isaac Winker, who in his prayer asked God to rise up against those who rise against the president. Opposition figures took that as whoever criticizes the president, God should punish that person. I don't think that's what the Archbishop was saying, but what's your take?
But even if that's what he said, we have freedom of speech. That's what he wants God to do. Am I responding for God? No. Should he say it as a man of God? I'm not a judge. Judgment is for God. It's not for Nagbe Sloh. If he said it, maybe he has a reason why he's saying it. Will God do it because Isaac Winker says so? I don't think so. The God I serve does not answer such prayers.
So that's it. The man was talking to God, right? So let God respond. In essence, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, let leave God to respond. It's like, I here can ask the president, look, anytime Dennis comes in the country, you might arrest him. It's left with the president to do it or not to do it. So I know there have been people who have been criticizing the president. Some have been very, very rude to the president, something that I will not do to any president. But God has not punished them as far as I know. Maybe he's doing it silently in ways that I don't know. So why Bishop Winker said anybody criticize the president, God should strike, and then we are all over the place. So why we too can ask God to punish Isaac Winker for saying that, and God lead the two prayers with God now? Okay, they say I should strike him. I think that's the best thing anybody can do.
Right, because God is just. So you will have these two prayers clashing, and let's leave it with God to determine which one to answer.
If I had problem with that, I would go on my knees and say, God, I know you didn't authorize the man of God to say something like this. So because he said it, and I know the God has said that not his will, you must strike him. And see, leave it with God.
Let's before I have two more issues. That's the president's State of the Nation address.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let's put on your hat as a journalist. And how do you rate the president's state of the, and also the opposition response? Those are the two issues I want us to discuss together.
Hey, I want to be a sedition. Hey, I want to be a sedition. That's your answer.
A song?
Yeah, I want to be a sedition. I cannot criticize my leader.
What about the opposition response?
I'm not from the opposition. They said what they had to say. I have something in Liberia that every radio station is using now. I said, I've talked my own, talk your own. The president talk his own, opposition talk their own. Last night I listened to President Trump's State of the Union address. The opposition came out with their response. It's normal. So there's nothing illegal about that. There's nothing abnormal.
In Morovia, they refer to you as the tough-talking Nagbe Sloh.
That's what they say.
What you say?
No, I don't tough talk. I talk the truth.
Honorable Sloh, before we draw down the curtains, I want to get your final thoughts. And we really appreciate you being here. We still have questions coming, but we are out of time. So I want you to just give us your final thoughts.
I would like to appeal to the president of my country, my standard bearer, His Excellency George Manneh Weah, to revert to the George Weah that I voted for in the second round, the George Weah that the Liberian people voted for. They were looking for change. And the name of his party reflects change. Let him truly begin to change Liberia. I am so disappointed in the first year. I'm not proud of the services we, as leaders of the people, are rendering Liberia. We all need to go to the upper room and see reason to do the people's business. In the cause of the people, the struggle continues.
Well, Honorable Sloh, I want to say thank you so much for taking up the time to be with us. We are glad that you came, and I think you talk tough, but you say you talk truth. So I give that to you.
I talk truth to power.
On behalf of all of us here at Focus on Liberia, I want to say thank you so much. And to our viewers across the globe, I know we were not able to read all your comments and your questions, but thank you for being part of this special edition on Focus on Liberia. This weekend, we are going to continue with our series on the history of Liberia. Dr. Herbert Brewer will be back to talk to us about the second waves of migration. That's the waves including the Kwa speaking group up to the free slaves. So tune in to Focus on Liberia on behalf of my co-host, Danielle Nagos-Gushard, and my guest relations manager, Stephanie Setro. We say thank you so much for being here. Good night, and God bless you.
Bye-bye.